Belton City Council, July 28, 2020. First, due to COVID-19, the City Council meetings have restricted space for the public. This space now includes the lobby area where there is a monitor broadcasting the live meeting. All attendees are expected to have appropriate decorum, whether you're in the council chambers or in the lobby. And again, agenda July 28, 2020, we call the meeting to order. Pledge led by Councilman Finn.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Mayor Davis,
Here.
Councilmember Savage,
Here.
Councilmember Lathrop, Councilmember Trutzel,
Here.
Councilmember Van Winkle,
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Finn,
Here.
Councilmember Davidson,
Here.
Councilmember Peak.
Here.
Consent agenda. One motion, non-debatable, to approve the recommendations noted. Any member of the council may ask for an item to be taken from the consent agenda for discussion and separate action. Present.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Wow, we're down to personal appearances. Incredible. This is moving fast already. Okay. First of all, to our guests, I want to say good evening to anybody that's here for our personal appearances. We have two special people this evening that we're going to honor with these presentations this evening. So first, Judge Curry, we'd like to recognize you for your 36 years of service to the City of Belton. Would you meet me at the microphone, please, Judge? Thank you. I want everybody to have a good look at us.
Oh,
We
okay.
sure are pretty. But we got to scoot off and give a little space, so we've got to have, and then I'll have you walk over here in a minute.
Mayor, would you like for me to read this into the record?
Would you please start right now reading it into the record?
Thank you. Whereas Charles C. Curry, a highly esteemed judge, attorney, and veteran, is retiring after 36 years of service to the City of Belton, and whereas Judge Curry began his esteemed journey graduating from Kansas University, New Hampshire College, and UMKC Law School, ultimately passing the bar exam, thereby being admitted to the Missouri Bar on September 22, 1975, and whereas he also served in the U.S. Navy during the Vietnam War, attending boot camp in San Diego as well as Naval Air Station Memphis and Naval Air Station Brunswick, achieving the rank of Petty Officer Second Class E5, specializing in naval electronics. And whereas he began his legal career as an associate in the Tom Cox criminal defense firm and worked for Beal, Jones, Curry, and Bragg in Hickman Mills, and since 1995 has been in private practice in Grandview, Missouri. And whereas in 1984, the City of Belton appointed Judge Curry as provisional judge with the distinction of being appointed as chief judge in 1994, which he conscientiously and stalwartly held until his final court session on July 15, 2020. And whereas he was elected to the Missouri Municipal and Associate Circuit Judges Association Board of Directors in 1988, where he held the offices of treasurer, secretary, vice president, and president, and chaired numerous committees for the MMACJA board, including the Annual Courts Conference, the Electronic Courts Committee, and the Nominating Committee. And whereas in 2020, the MMACJA Board of Directors unanimously voted to honor Judge Curry with the highly coveted George Pittman Award based on his years of service to the organization and his fellow judges. And whereas the George Pittman Award acknowledged Judge Curry for his many roles to the organization, including his involvement in helping automate the municipal courts by creating and acting as chairman of the Electronic Courts Committee, and serving in the distinctive role of chairman of the nominating committee, thereby recruiting the best and brightest within the organization to serve in leadership roles to ensure the excellence within our community and within the association. And it is important to note that Judge Curry is honored to be recognized as one of only a few who served twice as president of the MMACGAA organization. And whereas Judge Curry is known for his fairness and following his principles according to the law when performing his duties, for his dedication and commitment to the residents of Belton, for his strong sense of justice and respect for all parties, and as a person committed to the overall welfare, safety, and security of the city of Belton, where he has distinguished himself as a legal representative for 36 years. Now, therefore, Jeff Davis, Mayor of Belton, hereby joined with the City Council and City staff, extend our most sincere gratitude to Judge Charles C. Curry for his years of untiring service and time-honored commitment to the city, and congratulate him on his well-deserved retirement as municipal judge, with best wishes for many years of happiness.
Thank you, Judge. Got to make sure our light's on, and we both have to step up to this to talk as we do tonight. I'd like to say that you've been a huge part in justice in the Belton and in the North Cass region. You've been a dynamo for us. The justice has been a long time coming. 36 years is like incredible, and we're proud of that. You know, rest assured that your mark will be left here in our community for a long time, in a positive way. So we appreciate that, Judge. And then further recognition, we're going to give you a small token of our appreciation. And this is not to be used on nails or anything at home or the pets or anything like that, but this gavel is certainly appropriate. And I'll get a picture with you here holding that gavel. This is one of our photo ops. Did we get them all? Okay, thank you. All right, more to go here. So with that, Judge, would you like to introduce your wife and have some comments for us at this time?
Yes, thank you.
Step up and I'll step back.
My wife Barbara is here with me, and why don't you wave at everybody? Barbara is the first person I'm going to thank this evening. She has put up with all the late Wednesday nights. She's put up with the jail docket calls on Christmas Day, New Year's Day, in the middle of church services, and has hung in there with me all the time. And you know, without somebody like Barbara to support you, why it just doesn't work as well for your life. So, thank you, dear. "35 years is a long time, even for me. I learned last week that at least one and maybe two of the clerks weren't even born when I took over. So, kind of sobering thought there. All of the time, that's a long time. The nice thing about it is it's all been great. I've had great people to work with the whole time. Chief Person and his police officers have always been really helpful to me. They have, when they come into court, they've been prepared, and I've never had any doubt that when they gave evidence, that it was accurate and truthful. And it's been a real pleasure to work with all of them all this time, and especially the chief. So, you know, I'm sure that Judge Nigro will have as good a relationship with the police department as I've had, and that he will appreciate all that they do for him. Next, I'd like to thank the now City Council. I started out with boards of aldermen, but what you all may not know is that around our fair state, there are hundreds of municipal courts, and it came to my attention a long time ago that in many of those communities, the city government likes to make suggestions to the judge about how he should run his court, about who he should convict or not convict, and if he convicts somebody, whether or not to throw the book at them, so to speak. I have served this court, it's in 2 batches, but altogether it's about 35 years. And in all that time, I have never had anybody come to me and say, hey, we want this done. I got a call from a mayor one time, and it wasn't to say, hey, we want you to do this or that. He just called up because I had put an 80-year-old man in jail, and apparently the senior citizen community was in an uproar. So after I had explained why I did that, then he said, say no more. And that was the only time I've ever had a discussion with anyone about that. It is a sufficiently large problem throughout the state that the Judges Association actually has a committee on judicial independence, and we try to help judges that are having problems like that. And so I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you have kept your distance and let us do our job. I have a lot of memories from the court, but I'm going to just mention one because it was completely ridiculous. Probably been 10 or 15 years ago, we had a defendant who was charged with assaulting his son with a lawnmower.
I remember that one.
Yep. And the father and he was mad at his son because his son hadn't mowed the lawn, so he took the lawnmower up into the son's bedroom and started it up. And apparently chewed up the carpet and stuff like that. Well, we made the national news. Rush Limbaugh talked about us. So you can tell what a circus it was. But in any event, it worked out, and the local television people came out, and that was our 10 minutes of fame. And anyway, it turned out to be a lot of fun. But you know, we do those kinds of things occasionally, and happily not too much, so that we don't get involved. We stay out of the papers. We stay off the television news. This position and my association with the Judges Association, the work that I've done with them, has been without question the singular most enjoyable facet of my legal career. And I think most of the people who are judges would say that to you. But it really is a rewarding job, and it is something that we all look forward to doing when you get the opportunity. Going forward now, you've got a new guy who is young, handsome, really smart, and he's experienced. He's, as I'm sure you all know, he is also the judge for Raymore. So he came to this position with a lot of experience. If you don't know much about Ross, he is also the prosecuting attorney for the municipal court in Raytown, and that's where I've had most of my interaction with him. So I think that you have indeed chosen very wisely in selecting him as your new judge. There's one other group of people that I would like to say thank you to, and they're people that you don't hear a lot about. They're kind of like the offensive line for the Chiefs, in that they don't get a lot of TV time. And these people are the court administrators and the court administrator, Laura Ellis.
I'll turn around and let's see her.
And I'm going to give you one anecdote about the court staff. And you will all recall that a few years ago there was an incident in eastern Missouri, and where a young man was shot and killed. And as a result of that, a so-called public interest law firm in St. Louis decided that somehow the municipal court system had something to do with this. So even though the matter in Ferguson didn't really concern the municipal courts, because municipal courts have no jurisdiction over murders or killings, nevertheless, a full-scale attack on the municipal court system ensued, and the persons involved persuaded the Missouri Supreme Court that they needed to do something about the court system. So, and they did. And it took them about a year, but what they did was they came up with a set of rules that they call the minimum operating standards. And it is a very broad set of rules that tackle everything from the size of your courtroom to how many courts a judge can sit in, and whether or not armed police officers can be in there. It's really huge. So when this happened, Laura Ellis decided that there needed to be a reference so that people could understand the minimum operating standards and comply with them. And so she and her staff wrote a manual so that, and it was directed at court administrators, and it was, I don't know, it took her months to get it done. But in any event, it was such an outstanding piece of work that although it was directed at the court administrators, the Judges Association incorporated about 80% of that work into our operating procedures as well. So what I'm trying to get at here is that in my opinion, there is no finer group of court personnel than what we have right here in Belton. I know that because people keep trying to hire Laura away from me. And I hope everyone, because they're out at the police station, they're kind of out of sight and sometimes can be out of mind, but I hope everyone can understand that these people are bright and dedicated and energetic, and they do their job at a very high level, and they are an extremely valuable asset to this city. Mr. Mayor, I think that's all I have.
We appreciate you. Tough act to follow there. All right. Second tonight, we'd like to recognize Holly Gergen. And Holly, would you like to come on up here for your recognition this evening? You know, our former Planning Commission, what do we call you? What's your title?
Chairman?
Chairman of the commission, which means that chairman is kind of like being a judge. So 15 years of service to the city of Belton. So we've got you here now. And would you please, Andrea, read at this time the proclamation into record?
Yes. Whereas the mayor and city council wish to pay special recognition to Holly Gergen for her 15 years of service to the city of Belton and the Belton Planning Commission, and whereas Holly has served as planning commissioner since 2005 and has been the chairman for the last 11 years, and whereas Holly is an active, civic-minded citizen whose influence will long be remembered in business as well as civic affairs in Belton, and whereas Holly's understanding of community planning has helped contribute to economic development, city growth, infrastructure design, community livability, and much more in Belton. And whereas through her efforts, commitment, and continued contributions, Holly's sound planning has guided the city of Belton these last 15 years through a time of expansive commercial, flex industrial, housing, and retail growth. And whereas through this growth, citizens and visitors to Belton now enjoy quality amenities for dining, recreation, shopping, and working, all leading to continued improvement for our quality of life. Now, therefore, Jeff Davis, Mayor of Belton, hereby join with the City Council and City staff, express our deep gratitude to Holly for her years of committed service, and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service.
Wow, thank you. Holly's a special person. You got to know that we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Very committed, very religious and devoted, and do a lot of mission work. And we're proud of that part as much as the service that you've done for the city for all these years. You've done the best. And we've had quite some meetings in planning and zoning through the years.
They've been interesting.
Your qualities of a good person in my world are people that are genuine, real, and authentic. And you hit all those spot on. You are genuine, you are real, and you are authentic. And it's going to be hard to replace you. You got to know that. I know that Dave is chagrined a lot over that. Whoever fills your shoes is going to have some big shoes to fill. So with that, with further recognition, we'd like to present you with our appreciation that I thought you were going to throw at me several times. You had to use this gavel in
Not
planning and
once.
zoning for a few
Not
times.
once.
But that's something that you can keep for the rest of your life and remember your times. Hopefully, and it's a small token, but we would like for you to remember this and think of all the things that you've had a part of
With great pleasure.
in the city of Belton and the development of our city. It's come a long ways. Excuse me. So again, how about anybody to introduce tonight? Would you like to say a few words and step up, please?
I will say just a couple of words. I don't have anyone to introduce tonight. Everybody's very busy. But first, I just owe thank you to former Mayor Jimmy Odom for appointing me and having faith in appointing me to a board for, I can honestly say at the time, I was absolutely not qualified, as Councilman Tim Savage can wholeheartely testify to. And thank you, Mayor Davis, for keeping me on the board all these years. It's been a great pleasure to have served. This has been a very rapid 15 years, but I can't think of a more exciting 15 years to have had a front row seat to some of the most rapid-paced and dynamic development the city has seen. I've learned so much, and I wholeheartedly recommend that anyone, if you would like to better understand what goes into city management, city planning, city development, put in an application and serve. You will not regret your time serving for your city. So, Mayor, thank you for all the kind words tonight.
Well, you are the best, and you gotta know we appreciate you. We gotta get a little photo op over here.
For
Just
sure.
don't hit me. So we'll get a picture. Try not to crowd you.
Yeah, I'll use this.
So with that, Thank you again, and some applause there. Thank you. We're going to take a short break. It'll probably be about 8 minutes, please. To come back, we'll have a little ceremony out here. Not a ceremony, but we've got cookies and what else? Water. But let's go out and we'll take a break. And Mayor Pro Tem, you want to hit that, please? We're adjourned for 8 minutes. Check your clocks. There we go. Watch, Mayor.
An ordinance readopting ordinance number 91-2073 as amended, establishing a procedure to disclose potential conflict of interest and substantial interest for certain municipal officials.
Present. Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Councilman Savage.
As I asked in private, are there any changes to this from the norm each year?
No, there are no changes to this ordinance, Councilman Savage. This is just readopting it as we are required to do every year.
Yep, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
Move for second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second for a second reading. Any discussion?
Who was second, please? Thank you.
Any discussion at all? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. A motion approving the second reading of Bill number 2020-41.
An ordinance readopting ordinance number 91-2073 as amended, establishing a procedure to disclose potential conflict of interest and substantial interest for certain municipal officials.
Present.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none.
Mayor Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Savage,
Aye.
Davidson. Aye. Trutzel,
Aye.
Van Winkle,
Aye.
Peak. Aye. Finn,
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
That motion passes. Resolutions. Do we have any this evening?
No, Mayor, there are no resolutions this evening.
City Council Liaison Reports. Park, Councilwoman Davidson.
Thank you. The only thing I have this evening is just to share that the Hy-Vee Summerfest for this year has been canceled. It was scheduled for that last Friday and Saturday in August, but is planning to move ahead next year. The fireworks will still go on, as I understand. I can't remember if those are on Friday night or Saturday night. Do you know, Alexa? Yeah. But fireworks will still be on. I'm sure there'll be an announcement as we get a little bit closer to that date. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any other reports from council on as a liaison, Public Works or anything? Seeing none, let's think about what I have today. The mayor's communication. We want to remember Councilman Lathrop, his family this evening. They lost a sister-in-law, Frances. Remember them in your prayers and thoughts, and that's why he's not here this evening, for loss of a loved one. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next meeting is August 11th, and this lists what all the other meetings are, and I have no other communications for you this evening.
Wow. Communication from City Council? Anyone? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for me to go to enter executive session, discuss matters pertaining to the leasing, the purchasing or sale of real estate according to Missouri State Statute 610-0212, and that the record be closed and the meeting adjourned from there.
Present. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
It's a roll call.
Roll call.
Okay. Roll call
Councilmember,
vote. Go ahead.
Councilmember Savage,
Aye.
Trutzel,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Van Winkle,
Aye.
Peak. Aye. Finn,
Aye.
Mayor Davis.
Aye. We're adjourned, and thank you all this evening.